Now there's lots of plants that it doesn't matter if you stress them out a ways and bring them back. You're just going to lose tonnage on your production. Like if you stress alfalfa, it'll come back vigorous if you water it up, if it starts to get into getting close to that wilt. You're just going to lose a little bit of tonnage in the process. And your quality, your protein might drop just a skosh, but it might rise too. By stressing certain plants, they'll actually improve their overall saleability. Most fruits at the end of a season, we want to take them into stress because we want them to sweeten up. If we want to sell a peach or a pear or an apple, we want it to be sweet when it's sold. And to do that, you stress that plant a little bit toward the end of its season, and it puts all of its energy into growing better fruit. Because what you're doing is you're tricking that plant into thinking you're going to kill it. Oh yeah, we'll just cut back on the water. Then the plant says, oh my gosh, if this keeps going on, I'm going to die, so I better repropagate myself by creating this great fruit that's going to drop and reseed myself. And so what you're doing is you are creating a little bit of trickery to make that plant put all of its energy into the fruit toward the end of its growing season, and what that does is it converts it into sugars and you get sweeter fruit. Wine grapes, classic example. They water wine grapes up to like middle, end of July, and then they'll just taper the water off to nothing. They don't want a lot of tonnage in wine grapes. They want a lot of sugars in those wine grapes. And to make that grape sugar up, it puts all of its energy into the production of the reproductive part of the plant. So you start shutting the water off in the middle, end of July, it starts putting all of its energy into putting all of the nutrients it has into those grapes. It quits, the leaves kind of shut down and all of that, and it puts all of its effort into the grape itself so that if it were to die, it regenerates itself through its seed. So you're tricking it into thinking like you're going to kill it. Therefore, it tries to repropagate itself through its fruit, and you can develop the quality of fruit that you want by stressing it at the proper time and the proper matter. And so the guys that really grow great wine grapes know just how to do that. And they know just when to stress each variety of grape. They're all a little different. They all have a little bit different process that they work under, or they're just, like people. We're all just a little bit different. Well, so are grapes. And so are apples. We got a jillion varieties of apples. They all have to get treated a little different. Some are harvested in August, some are harvested in October. Obviously, we don't want to stress the ones that are harvested in October back in August, and vice versa. If we're going to pick galas in the middle of August over here in Milton Freewater, we're going to have to start stressing them late July probably to get what we're after, to get them to sugar up. Now you can go too far on those things too. Then they won't hold very well. Nothing like picking a fresh fruit right out of the orchard, a pear or a peach. You get them in the grocery store, they're like little cannonballs, hard as a rock, they don't have much flavor, but if they can tree ripen, they're just so much better because you've let them go through that process. And now they're sweet and moist and juicy and soft and all of that. But when they try to ship a fruit like that, it's almost impossible. So the producer's really got himself in a quandary there. He's going to end up sending fruit out that's not near as tasty as it could be just so he can get it transported. There's no way you can ship it otherwise. So going to these roadside stands, you can get awful good fruit during the season because they'll let it tree ripen, pick it, handle it gently, and you get it right there and then. So you have to know your crop to know what kind of stress you can allow it to go to. And in the state of Washington, we have an irrigation guide available that tells you every irrigated crop in the state and how far you can take that crop in that readily available moisture zone before you need to re-irrigate. So it'll give you percentage rates of how much you can use of that available moisture. And usually it's about 50%. Most crops can use about 50%. You also have to know the root zone in this deal. You know, potatoes, we got about 1.5 to 2 foot root zone. Apples, we got 5 or 6 foot root zone. A golf green, we got about 4 inches of root zone. Maybe 6 if we stretch it. But really we're monitoring the top 4 inches, really close. So boy, we have a wide range, anywhere from 4 inches to 6 feet that we're looking at as a root zone, and that's where we're monitoring our readily available moisture, only in that viable root zone. Sure, we can have the ground saturated out here on the golf course, a foot down. Doesn't help us a bit up in the growing area if it's dry, the top 4 inches. So we have to be monitoring where it counts. It's very critical.